Up the road, there's a place stuck in time. Up the road, that's where people get into trouble.
We're going to devote our energies to sports and gardening, all the cultural pursuits as far as they're concerned. In fact, we're going to put the goons to sleep. Meanwhile, we dig.
Here we go again.
Greetings and welcome to the Anadrome. This is Burnt Power coming to you from Tbilisi, Georgia, somewhere in the Caucasus Mountains. A place you're probably not familiar with, but you should be. Look for it on a map. Well, I just got back from watching Until Dawn, which I thought was a pretty interesting film. Based on an interactive drama survival horror video game. That's what it says in Wikipedia. I'm purposely not looking up a lot about the game and such because I'm just looking at this as a movie. I've never played the game. Maybe it's great, maybe it's not. I don't know. But I was impressed enough by watching it to decide to make a video of it. And one thing I've decided is that I will be making more of these short videos for movie reviews. And I've missed a few this year. I really wanted to do one on Companion, and The Monkey was interesting. But I'm doing this more. One thing I'm realizing is that we get our films opening on Thursday. That's Thursday in Georgia time, which is 8 hours ahead of New York East Coast time. It's also about 2 or 3 hours of other European times. So that means I get this almost a day and a half ahead of other people whose films often open, other countries often open their films on Fridays. So I thought, why not do a bit more of this, and let's see how it goes. Well, I must also mention we don't get every film. So we get all the Blumhouse films, the A24 films, the Universal films, and other major companies. We did not get Art the Clown showing up here in Terrifier. So there's a lot of little stuff that we don't get, small companies, indie stuff. Nevertheless, here we are. Now, this game was directed by David F. Sandberg, who kind of made his name with a short called Lights Out. I think you can just find this on YouTube. It's pretty effective. And then he made a film of it, which by most lights was less effective. Good, but just not as effective as the short, condensed video that he made his name with. I believe he won an award with that. Then he went on to make Annabelle Creation, which I think was probably the best Annabelle film of the Conjuring franchise. And then he made 2 Shazam films, and now he's made this film. So I think we can say with some certainty that David Sandberg, a Swedish director, is a very mainstream horror director, but with a fairly good pedigree thus far of his films. He hasn't made any real stinkers yet, so we look forward to his films. Now, one of the actors I saw in this film, and as soon as I saw him, I didn't really note who was in the film before I went and saw it, but I saw Peter Stormare, who is a Swedish actor. I guess David Sandberg called him up. They're probably both in Hollywood, or go back and forth between Sweden and Hollywood, and said, Peter, come with me on this film. And whenever I see Peter Stormare in a film, I'm immediately going, aha, villain. He just has this quality. He was in the movie Fargo as the dumber of the two villains. He was in Constantine as the devil, basically. He was in The Big Lebowski. He was in Lars von Trier's Dancer in the Dark, which was a great film. And he registers whenever you see him. There's something about him. He's good. He's certainly not a movie star idol kind of guy. He is more of a... He just has his face screams personality, and he can do dark really well, which he does here. Also, the film stars what Joe Bob Briggs might call 5 attractive teenage pork chops, and they're nice. They do their jobs. I have no complaints about their acting. Ella Rubin was the standout here as the kind of the central character, the one with the most emotional baggage. But essentially, as I said, this is based on a video game. And it takes place, without spoiling anything here, we can say it takes place on one very long night, hence the title Until Dawn. There's more going on than that, and if you know the game, you know. If you don't, save it as a surprise. Don't read too much about this. And it does have a few really effective shocks. There was at least 3 or 4 times I was like, whoa, in my seat. I like that effect. Because when it comes at you with you know something's coming, but it doesn't come at you the way you think it is. And it's not so much jump cuts as it is just stuff in the background that shows up, stuff, but nevertheless, if you don't like things that go bump in the night, then you may not like this kind of film. But I like those films when they work well. And I had the feeling some of these jump scares would indeed be frightening upon a later watch, because they go by the principle of you're invested in one thing and then the thing comes at you at something else, which to me makes a very good shock in a film. There is one film, The Woman in Black, not the Daniel Radcliffe movie, nor the second one, but the original TV movie from the UK. I have watched that 4 or 5 times now, and I can never get when the big shock moment comes. And it always gets me, it always freaks me out. And that's great, because what it is you get invested in something else, and all of a sudden, bam, the thing hits you from the side, where you're not looking, or where what you're not expecting. You're thinking of something else. And this film has a couple moments like that. And it's got, buckets of gore, blood, smashed heads, all sorts of body parts going all over the place. The teenage pork chops are indeed teenage pork chops in this, but that doesn't give anything away. I'll just say I'll save that as a mystery when you watch the film. There are plenty of implications here of a larger lore, but they really don't explain too much. I think they're hoping it will be a franchise. And evidently the video games have their lore as well. Essentially, what this is a haunted house film. And it's a haunted house film that is haunted by time. The very phrase "until dawn" means essentially something has to happen before dawn. So and the metaphor for the whole film, which they show in the opening credits, is an hourglass. In this case, you could call it an all-night glass. That essentially, as this goes to the end, things have to happen. Like I said, I'm trying not to spoil this too much. But I was fascinated by that concept and the idea of kind of getting trapped within this thing and repetitious action, things like that. Essentially, it was taking a cyclical view of time, but at the same time moving forward. So it was kind of a cross between the two types of time. So basically, in a movie like this, the movie itself is a metaphor for our passage through time. And now, let me just put this film in its proper place. It was an interesting film. I found it interesting. It was a bloody film, some good characterization. Like I say, one actor stuck out, Peter Stormare stuck out, although they didn't use him as much as I would wish they had used him. But this isn't like a top-of-the-line horror film. I would say both Companion and The Monkey, which I saw earlier this year, were better than this film. Although, it intrigued me enough that I will eventually probably get a Blu-ray of it to watch it again. So, it particularly at the end, after everything happens, there is just a couple seconds at the end suggesting more. And that was pretty needless. Obviously, it was put in there to suggest, oh, yeah, we're going to make a franchise of this. So, who should watch this film? I would say this is a good film for teenagers, for a date night. This is a good film for people who are invested in the horror genre. If you want a more experimental haunted house film, this is good. What I love about haunted house films are the way the elements within them are change and are the same. In many ways, I thought of the movie Heretic when I watched this. Not that there was any great dialogue like what was happening between Hugh Grant's character and the two Mormon missionary girls, but it had a house that on the first layer was just very normal, and then as one descends into the basement, it starts getting stranger and stranger. And I like that sort of haunted house, very much post Stephen King haunted house. But I think that, like I say, it's not a great film. It is an interesting film. If you're one of the people who really, really love films like the recent Robert Eggers Nosferatu, or Sinners, which just came out, which is, I think, on a higher level. I think, last year we had some pretty good films. This isn't quite on that level, but I think it is worth a shot. So that is my takeaway from this. Go see it if you want to have a good night at the movies, if you like horror films, if you like haunted house films, if you're a teenager and you want your date to jump one way or another. The guy will jump, the girl will jump, everybody's going to jump with this one. But that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening, and keep in mind, if you want to support the channel, you can hit the like and the subscribe. Also, I've got a book of my very strange puppet plays called Three Motions. Motions was an old English word for puppets. You can support the channel by contributing $25, and I'll send you one of those. Is it worth it? Yeah. Is it worth $25? No. But it is worth supporting the channel. Do that. And that's it. So, here in Tbilisi, Georgia, where in Georgian we say drobi, which means just temporarily. We'll just be gone from each other just a little while, and then we will indeed, certainly, meet again.
When I go, I want you to give me 5 minutes. I told you boys I'm no escape artist. For the first time, I like the odds.
At the round earth's imagined corners, blow your trumpets, angels, and arise, arise from death, you numberless infinities of souls.
We're here again.
Stuck in time.
But the night is never the same.
Every night something new is trying to kill us.
We're here again.
Something new is trying to kill us.
What is that?
If we want to survive,
Oh my God.
we have to make it until dawn.